Hi everyone, we're going to analyze another graph of a rational function. This is number 11, and the one we're going to do is r of x equals x squared over x squared plus x minus 6, and I'm going to go ahead and factor the denominator. It's x plus 3 times x minus 2. This is your p to the x as your numerator. Q of x is your denominator. If you notice, the degrees are the same. So the degree in the numerator is 2. The degree in the denominator is also 2. Since they equal each other, we're going to have a horizontal asymptote. And you just divide the lead coefficients. So we're going to have one at y equals 1. It's already in reduced terms. We do not have a whole. So we can find the domain of the function is going to be x. You set q of x equals 0. So x cannot be negative 3 and x cannot be 2. That means we have a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 3 and x equals 2. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and find the intercepts. We're going to set the p to the x, the numerator, to 0. So we have x squared equals 0. So x is 0. So when y is 0, x is 0. So that's the origin. That's your x-intercept. And for the y-intercept, you just plug in 0. So you get 0 squared over 0 squared plus 0 minus 6 equals 0 over negative 6, which equals 0. So it goes through, the graph's going to go through the origin here. This is your x-intercept, and this one is your y. Let's go ahead and test for symmetry. And we're going to do r to the negative x. And everywhere there's an x, put negative x. After a while, you can just tell by looking at these. I can tell by looking that this is neither, because we have the numerator comes out even. The denominator comes out kind of neither. So it doesn't look like our original function, and nor does it look like negative r to the x. So there's no symmetry at all. Okay. We do have horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. We got to determine, does it cross or intersect r of x. So basically you set your r of x, which is x squared over x squared plus x minus 6. You set it to your y, which is in this case 1, and cross multiply. The x squares cancel. So you get 0 equals x minus 6, so x is 6. So when x is 6, you got to plug in 6 back into your original equation here. So you're going to get 6 squared over 6 squared plus 6 minus 6, and that's easy. So that's just going to equals 1. So it is going to cross our horizontal asymptote at 6, 1. Now, you can graph this with your calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and choose intervals and act like you cannot graph with the calculator, because sometimes the teacher doesn't let you do that. So I'm going to choose negative infinity to negative 3, -3 to 0, 0 to 2, and 2 to infinity. And I'm going to tell you why I'm choosing these. I'm choosing these because I have an asymptote at x equals -3 and 2, and I have an x-intercept at 0. And I want to know how the graph behaves on this side of the graph, on the left side, on the right side, and I want to know what's going on between the intercepts here. I want to know what's going on between -3 and 0 and 0 and 2. So I'm going to plug in some points and see how the graph behaves. You get to choose your points. So I'm going to choose -6. You can choose any ones you want. But I'm going to choose -6, -1, 1, and 3. And you find the value of your y, or r, by evaluating r to the -6, r to the -1, r to the 1, or r of 1, and r of 3. You plug that in, you're going to get 1.5, -1 goes to -1/6, 1 is -1/4, and 3 is 1.5. Put it right here, 1.5. Now, this tells us the location on the graph. So this is going to be above, since this is positive, your y is positive, above the x-axis. Negative, so this is below. Now, this one's below as well. So they're both below the axis from our x-intercept. And this one's going to be above. I'm going to go ahead and graph this. So we have -3 as our asymptote, x equals -3. X equals 2. And our intercept is at 0, 0, 0,0. So I plugged in -6. I knew it was above the graph, so this was -3. 6 went to 1.5. Oh, we had a y-intercept. We had a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. This was x equals 2. This one was x equals -3. And so I'm going to go to -6, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. And it doesn't cross here. This was above the graph. And over here I chose 3 and 1/2. So this was right here. It did cross at 6,1. So I'm going to go to 6. This was 3, 4, 5, 6. It does cross here, the graph. It crosses the horizontal asymptote here. Right there. Okay? And then for this piece, it's going to be more like this. And just use the points that we used on the interval. Okay? That's all. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.